There's a moment that most people don't talk about. A quiet moment, not a dramatic one. It's not life-changing in the way that you'll notice all at once. It's subtle. Maybe for you it was late at night, maybe while you're scrolling through your phone. Or maybe you were sitting in your car, engine off, staring out the window after a long day. And as you're sitting there, you saw someone else's life. Not the whole life, just a piece of it. A win, a highlight, a moment of success. And something inside you began to shift. Not loudly, but quietly, and oddly, it was with respect. Like a whisper in your mind saying, that's where I should be. And then without even realizing it, you begin to measure your life against theirs. Not just that moment, but everything after. Your progress, your timing, your decisions, and your worth. And here's the part that nobody warns you about. You don't wake up one day and decide that you're not enough. You slowly learn it through comparison. So as I get started, I'm gonna ask you this question, and I don't want you to rush past it. When did you start believing that you were not enough? When did you say it, and when did it first start feeling true? This is part 3 of the Comparison Trap series. Part 1, we talked about how comparison starts quietly. Part 2, we talked about how it steals your peace. But part 3 is where we go deeper. We're going to identity, y'all. Because comparison doesn't just make you feel behind, it makes you forget who you are. So today, we're gonna look doubt straight in the face and challenge a belief that you've believed for a very long time. The one that's been shaping your life more than you realize. The belief that maybe I'm just not enough. But even better, we're going to replace it with something grounded in truth. Your value has never changed. So as I bring this closer, there's a specific moment that I want you to think about. A moment where you gave your best, not halfway effort, not a distracted effort, your real best. You showed up, you tried, you invested in you, and it didn't work out the way that you expected. Maybe it got overlooked. Maybe someone else received the opportunity that you thought was surely yours. And you told yourself, well, maybe I'm just not as good as I thought I was. And the thought didn't leave, it stayed, it lingered. It followed you into decisions. It followed you into your confidence, and it changed how you showed up in the rooms that you walked into. Slowly, you start shrinking without even realizing it. Not physically, but internally. That's where comparison takes root. Imagine I'm holding a $20 bill, clean, flat, crisp. I hold it up and I say, hey, who wants this? Every hand goes up. Of course, it's valuable. Say I take the same $20 bill and I crumble it up tight. I wrinkle it, I fold it, I crush it into something unrecognizable. Then I hold it up again. Who still wants it? Every hand still goes up. So I take it further. I drop it. I step on it, press it firmly into the ground, and let dirt collect on it. Then I pick it up again. Now it's worn, it's dirty, a little rough around the edges. And I ask again, who wants it? And still, every hand goes up. Why? Because we all understand that although the condition changed, its value didn't. That's the part most people miss, and that bill is not an example, it's a reflection. Because there's someone watching me who life has done that to. Pressure has crumbled you. Expectations have folded you. Disappointments has stomped you into the ground. Experiences have left marks on you that you didn't ask for. And without realizing it, you've started confusing your condition with your value. Without realizing it, you started believing that because I went through this, I must be worth less. But that's where distortion begins. And let's be clear. Life can affect your circumstances, but it can't touch your value. You don't lose value, you lose the clarity of your value. And comparison is what blurred it out. Because comparison only works when you forget who you are. And I'm gonna say this directly. You might not have a discipline problem. You might have a comparison problem because it is frames that create focus. And it is the frame that you're looking at that is starting to allow you to question your worth. You keep measuring your beginning against someone else's middle. And what we don't realize is that over time, it doesn't just make us feel behind, it actually makes us hesitate. It makes you second guess decisions that you already know the answer to. It makes you shrink in the very spaces that you know you belong in. It makes you delay action because you don't feel ready enough. And slowly, you start abandoning your own path, not because it's wrong, but because it feels smaller in comparison to the frame that you've been looking through. And here's the real danger. When your worth becomes tied to your outcomes, your identity becomes unstable because outcomes change. They rise, they fall, they fluctuate. So that means that now your confidence rises and falls with it. And that's not growth, it's instability dressed as ambition. Now let's ground this properly. This doesn't mean you stay where you are. This doesn't mean you stop growing and start asking for more, seeking for more, chasing after more. And in fact, there's a truth that stares us in the face. And that is the truth that if you don't have much, you must become more. But not from the foundation of shame, from the foundation of clarity. You don't grow because you lack value. You grow when you recognize your value and refuse to live beneath it. And this is where it gets honest, and part of you might resist the question that I'm about to ask. Have you been treating yourself like you've lost your value? Have you been interpreting your life like you're behind? Have you been listening to thoughts that were never fully true? You never lost your value. You just started interpreting your life through distortion. And you may be watching and asking, well, how do I begin to correct the distortion? One of the ways you correct this distorted view of yourself is through gratitude. Not the shallow kind. I'm not talking about forced positivity here. Real gratitude. And real gratitude doesn't deny what you want, so don't get that twisted. It simply reminds you of what you already have. As Myron Golden said, you don't lack abundance, you just lack awareness of it. And when comparison says, look at what's missing, gratitude says, hey, look at what's already working. Maybe your resilience, maybe your awareness, maybe the fact that you're still here after all that you've carried. And I challenge you to give gratitude the access to disqualify any idea that you are less than. So now we build something, slowly and honestly. Who are you when you're not comparing? What do people naturally come to you for? What challenges have you survived that should have taken you out? You are not behind, you're not less than. You are not disqualified, and you are not starting from nothing. You're someone in motion, someone in process, someone in a season, and guess what? Your season may change, but your value does not. So here's what I want you to do after this video. Don't just think about it, but act on it. Write it down. What have I allowed to convince me that I am less valuable? Be honest. No filtering, no minimizing. Then let's start the work to separate it from our identity. Because what happened to you and the circumstance that you're in is not who you are. You've been measuring yourself against the wrong standard. You've been grading your worth with systems that were never designed for your life. That stops today, because the moment you remember your value, comparison loses its authority and you finally return to yourself. Here's a challenge for you. For the next 7 days, every time you catch yourself about to compare, don't ignore it, but interrupt it and replace it with this truth. My value hasn't changed. Write down evidence every day that proves it. And know that the goal isn't to feel better temporarily. The goal is to see yourself clearly again. And when you do, you stop moving like someone who is behind, and you start moving like someone who remembers exactly who you are. Always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you. And I'll see you on the next one.